cannot just get, oh, my radical is alone over here. But this isn't alone. This is going to be the weirdest one we've done so far. I'm going to raise both sides to the second power. That'll get rid of my radical on the right. Okay, so then I'm going to have x minus 7 times x minus 7, which is x squared minus 7x minus 7x minus 14x plus 49. Okay, then this is a quadratic. To solve a quadratic, I'm going to make it equal 0 first to see if it would be possible for me to factor. So I'm going to have x squared minus 15x plus 54, I think, equals 0. A is 1, B is negative 15, C is 54. So A times C, sum of B, negative 6 times negative 9. Yes. So then x minus 6 times x minus 9 equals 0. 0 product property. Add 6. So x equals 6. Add 9. X equals 9. Now, don't forget to check. This is when you can get into trouble if you don't check for extraneous solutions. Let's put 6 in. 6 minus 5 is 1. The square root of 1 is 1. When I put 6 over here, 6 minus 7, is that 1? No, that's negative 1, so that's an extraneous solution. How about this one? 9 minus 5 is 4. The square root of 4 is 2. 9 minus 7 is 2. So yes, 9 is the only answer that works there for number 5. Okay, let's move on to number 6. My radical is alone, so I can just go ahead and raise both sides to the third power. What's under the radical will come out. 486 minus 27x cubed will equal 27x cubed, 3x times 3x times 3x. I'm going to add 27x cubed to the other side. I believe that's 54x cubed. And then I'm going to divide by 54. I have a calculator here, so I'm just going to go ahead and use it. But you got to type in the right numbers. That is 9. X cubed is going to equal 9. So then I'll take the cube root of both sides. And I'll say x is going to equal the cube root of 9. And I don't want a decimal. I'm just going to leave it as a cube root of 9. Cube root of 9 cubed would be 9. 486 minus 27 times 9. It's 243. And then the cube root, I'll try something else in just a second. The cube root of 243. Oh, there it is. Then that was right. So let me do that again. The cube root of 9, that's cube root of 9 multiplied by 3. There we go. So yes, I was correct. X is the cube root of 9. Okay, moving on to number 7. Normally I would want to get this radical alone, but if I divide by 4, I'm going to make fractions, so I'm just going to square as is. This is 4 times the square root of x plus 1, and so if all I have to do is square each of these terms, so that's 16 times x plus 1. But this is x plus 1, the quantity squared, so don't forget you're doing x plus 1 times x plus 1. And that would be x squared plus 2x plus 1. I need to distribute on the left-hand side. I need to subtract 16x and subtract 16. Minus 14x minus 15. A times C, sum of B, negative 15, positive 1. Negative 15, positive 1. Do the zero product property. So x will equal 15, x will equal negative 1. Now we have to check and see. 15 plus 1 is 16. The square root of 16 is 4. 4 times 4 is 16. 15 plus 1 is 16. So yes, that's correct. Then negative 1. Negative 1 plus 1 is 0. Negative 1 plus 1 is 0. Square root of that is 0 times 4 is 0. So both of these are my answer. 15 and negative 1 are my answer to number 7. Okay, for number 8, I need to move one of those radicals. I'll move this one. I don't need parentheses yet. I'm going to add 3 times the square root of x plus 1 to the other side. So I'll have the square root of 2x plus 2 equals 3 times the square root of x plus 1. Square both sides. 2x plus 2 is going to equal 9 times x plus 1. And look, it's linear. I squared a radical, so that means it doesn't turn into a quadratic. So this is a really simple problem to solve. I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides and subtract 2x from both sides. So that's going to be negative 7 equals 7x. X is going to equal negative 1. Now let's make sure it's correct. 2 times negative 1 is 2. Negative 2. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. So 0 minus negative 1 plus 1 is 0. Square root of 0 is 0. 0 minus 0 is 0. So yes, that is the correct answer. Moving on to number 9. My radical has two things with it. It has a negative 1 and it has a 2. So I am going to subtract 2 from both sides first. That would leave my negative sign there. 14 minus 2 is 12. I would divide by negative 1. So I'm going to have the fourth root of 2x minus 6 equals negative 12. And we haven't encountered this yet. I have, and I didn't mention it again since number 2, I have an even root. And this number over here is negative. What did we say up here? It has to be positive. So since it's not positive, since my even root is not positive, then I have to say there's no solution to this problem. There's no value of x that I can substitute in that would give me negative 12 once I did all the order of operation and took the fourth root. So that one is no solution. Number 10, I cannot get this radical alone because I'd have the same problem if I subtracted 2. So I'm going to raise both sides to the second power. I am going to do this. I'm going to write it out up here so I can see. Okay, so the square root of x plus 7 times the square root of x plus 7 is x plus 7. X plus 7, square root of x plus 7 times 2 is 2 square root of x plus 7. 2 times square root of x plus 7 is 2 times the square root of x plus 7. 2 times 2 is 4. And then when I square this, I get 3 minus x. Now let's combine some like terms. I've got nothing to go with x over here for right now. I've got 2 square root of x plus 7 and 2 square root of x plus 7. So I have 4 square roots of x plus 7. And then I have plus 11. Okay, the next thing I would do is move the constant, the variable, and maybe get rid of this to the other side to try to get this radical alone, because I'm going to have to square again to get it by itself. So I'm going to subtract 11 and subtract x. So that's going to give me 4 times the square root of x plus 7 equals negative 8 minus 2x. Now, since both of these are not divisible by 4, because if I divide 4 into 2, I get a decimal. So since they're not both divisible by 4, I'm going to leave that 4 over here and raise both sides to the second power. So I'm going to get 16 times the square root of x plus 7. Nope. I'm going to get 16 times x plus 7. Equals, and then I'm going to think of 2 of these in my head, equals 64 plus 16x plus 16x plus 4x squared. Then I am going to distribute on the left-hand side. Is that 112? 42, yep. And combine like terms on the other side. I'm going to put 4x squared first. 32x. I'm going to subtract 16x and subtract 112. 32x minus 16x is 16x. 64 minus 112. Negative 48. I am going to factor out 4. I'm going to find factors of negative 12. That'll give me a sum of 4. That's 6 and negative 2. I'm going to bring down my 4. X plus 6. X minus 2. Do the zero product property. Remember that one gets thrown out because it does not have a variable. I get x equals negative 6 and I get x equals 2.